Sorry, late. Now see, I don't go again because it's 3, 6, 7, 8. There it is. There's the delay. So there it is. Hey, how's everyone doing? July 25th. I was running late. Sorry. So it's the 206th day of the year, episode 55. Only 98 days to Halloween. The reason I specifically bring up Halloween is because what the hell? I was at Lowe's and look at this. This is crazy, okay? But seriously? Lowe's. Hold on. This is just, I was like, what the absolute? Look, they have Halloween decorations up already at Lowe's. I mean, it's not even August. This is crazy. That is a cool 10-foot skeleton, though. It's cooler than the ones I've seen before. It's $299. So if anyone wants to gift me that, I will totally take it because it's awesome. But wait, there is something even cooler that I saw. So hold on, I got to put the audio follow video because this was actually pretty damn cool too. It's 6 feet tall. I guess you can use your own music. I've got the desktop version. We always called it Dead Mace. DJ Mace, who passed away, he would laugh. There's no such thing as too soon. But yeah, there it is. That would be DJ Mace. We found that to be hilarious. I did anyway. Sorry if no one else found that to be hilarious. I did. I found it to be hilarious. Anyway, how's everyone doing? Welcome. Welcome. And again, giant skeleton. Look at this thing. It was awesome. But yes, that was today after the many hours spent at the wonderful, wonderful Fiery Foods Festival. Woo! Fiery Foods. So, Asheville, Ohio. I got to tell you, I had to read a little bit of Asheville, Ohio because it took me a minute. So, we were there today. It was 5 to 10. I went there at 11 this morning. I was just going to go do the setup. I just got back a little while ago. It turned into a whole thing. Yeah, it turned into a thing. So this is one of the things that you're greeted by, okay? This, world's oldest traffic light, which it's this crazy looking traffic light. Apparently, the traffic light, it's the world's oldest functioning traffic light, as admitted to by the Guinness Book of World Records. Even though the traffic light was invented in Cleveland, Ohio, this apparently has the world's oldest traffic light. That's what it's claimed. Anyway, so yeah, that's what it looks like. That crazy like plankton thing from SpongeBob, like the one-eyed little green dude. But Asheville, so I did my history. So Asheville now has a population of 4,600 people. Great Britain claimed it in 1763, and it was settled in 1808. 1853, railroad from, there was a vote for speedy construction, which happened there. Now, the reason that this happened was because they did a lot of, as I said before, canned corn there. 1847 or 1874 railroads there with 2 grain elevators. By 1899, they were canning sweet corn, ready for this one, at 200,000 cans a day. A day in 1899. So that's how much corn was coming out of this area back then. And Asheville was the hub of this thing. It doubled and tripled in size. It had like 600 people working in this canning factory. Basically, that's a lot if you think about that. I was like, okay, interesting. Basically, in 1904, they had a third rail that was built, so they did an actual commuter train from Columbus to Columbus, which is 17 miles away, and then down to Chillicothe, Ohio. That lasted until 1930. The population jumped again in the 1950s and the 1960s, stayed stable, and then it grew again in 1994 when that started to build modern suburban homes there till this day. And it's a suburb of Columbus. There you go. Asheville, Ohio. Ready for this one, though? They have some famous residents. The most famous resident that I found, ready? It's John Holmes. The porno actor John Holmes. There you go. From Asheville, Ohio. I found that to be amusing. I chuckled. That to me, I was like, okay, well, I guess you have to come from somewhere, right? But this is what's going on. Fiery Foods Festival. So again, tomorrow I'll be there from, I'll be there, yeah, like 1 o'clock till 10 p.m. I'm going to do the contest and you can win trophies. So this is one of them, right? Big trophies. There's like 20 hot sauce vendors. We got people from Columbus, but also Florida, Indiana, Chicago. So there's some hot sauces that are from all over the country. So it's worth coming checking out if you like hot sauces. Now, there is an insane amount of food trucks there. I honestly was a little blown away by how many food trucks are there. This doesn't do justice the amount of the picture. I mean, there were so many food trucks. Like, I can't believe there's at least 25 food trucks there, including Cousin's Lobster, Schmidt's, Taqueria, Zaki's. I mean, they've got some good-ass food trucks. I was blown away by the actual numbers and who was going. I mean, I hope they get giant monster numbers again tomorrow because they had a lot of people eating tonight at dinner. But yeah, I'm like, okie dokie. They've got some serious food trucks. So if you want a food truck festival that's free to go to, this is it. Asheville, easy parking, and they have everything. I mean, every single food truck you can imagine. I'm blown away by how many food trucks. So totally worth checking that out. There was some cool weather tonight. Got to see some cool weather over the food trucks. This looked like a burst, but it never came down. And then, of course, my giant skeleton. There is a video of me. And again, why do people keep giving me golf carts? That's all I want to know. Why do people doing that? Oh, and here's a golf cart. I'm like, okay. So I took it driving around Asheville, Ohio. Around the city. And then drove down some road I got lost on and went past lots of cornfields. I'm just like, and here's corn, videotaping, driving down the highway as cars are passing me because I was apparently on a road that was like 55 in a golf cart going past cornfields. And I filmed the cornfields, which was kind of funny. Definitely dangerous. I should probably not have been driving on the road, but that's just me. My partner in crime, Mike, was with me and he was laughing, thought that was hilarious, that I was in fact driving on the highway. He's like, we're lost. I'm like, no, we're not. You see the giant eye in the sky that looks like plankton from SpongeBob? We just have to find our way back to that. So I eventually circled around and found that and cut through yards and whatever else. I'm in a golf cart. Who cares? No one's going to stop me. It was funny. I laughed. Sorry. That's the way that works. Today was National Wine and Cheese Day. It was also National Hire a Vet Day, which I did. I hired a vet. The guy I work with is a Navy vet, so that's good. Hot Fudge Sundae Day. There was a picture I thought that I had of me with the velvet ice cream, the freezer bin at the convenience store. I totally had so much ice cream today. I was like, yes. And then there was a Johnson ice cream was there. I had ice cream from them. So there's ice cream galore that was consumed by me today. No fudge, but not hot fudge, but there was fudge in the one ice cream. So close. I was there. Promise. Merry-go-round day wasn't there. Thread the needle day. I definitely threaded the needle a few times with the golf cart, going between things that were way too small, including a couple of tents that I probably shouldn't have. But hey, it's a golf cart. What am I going to do? Kill somebody? Maybe. And it's also Get Gnarly Day. Again, I assume it's a surfing thing. I didn't look that one up. I didn't have time. Tomorrow is Day of the Cowboy. Hey, it's Asheville. Come down. There's cowboys. I'm sure there's cowboys. It's also Bagel Fest. Now Sunday. Oh, see, that's Saturday. Tomorrow's Saturday. See, I didn't even know. Normally I like to have a bagel with some lox as a Sunday breakfast. I'll get some salmon and get a bagel. Now, I see, like Larry King, I like a hollow bagel. If you don't know what that is, it was a Jersey thing, East Coast thing. You would take the bagel and you would you cut it in half and you scrape out with your finger the gooey like center part, so it's this rounded, hollow kind of bagel, and then you toast it so it gets crunchy and it's thin. Cream cheese, salmon, little lox with some capers on it. Oh yeah, there it is. Because it's not so doughy. It's got lots of room and it's the way to go. Hollow bagel. It's National Coffee Milkshake Day. I am so having a coffee milkshake tomorrow. That I can totally get into. I will find a place that'll make a coffee milkshake. If not, I will get ice cream, I will blend it, and I will add coffee. I will make a coffee milkshake. I will prove it. It's a National All or Nothing Day. I just assume you just go for it and it's all or nothing. Didn't read it. That's tomorrow. As well as Aunt and Uncle Day. It's okay. So you're talk to your aunt and uncle. That's tomorrow. All right. Now, the reason I also brought up Asheville is because it was a train stop. And on this day in 1814, George Stephenson invented the first steam locomotive. So there you go. Oddly enough, the first person ever killed by a train was on this day in 1930 or 1832 in Quincy, Massachusetts. So the day that the locomotive is invented is also the day that a guy gets killed by a locomotive, by an engine. Just a few years later, 1814 to 1832. So they made it a few years without killing anybody. But it's odd that is funny. 1866, Ulysses S. Grant became the first general of the Army. Now, what bill is he on? Do we know? 1946, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis star in their first show as Martin and Lewis. Atlantic City, New Jersey, that went on to be a duo for decades. Martin and Lewis. 1966, Brian Jones' last performance as a Rolling Stone. Yes. 1969, the Seattle Pop Fest, including these artists, Bo Diddley, 10 years after the Guess Who, Santana the Byrds, Ike and Tina Turner, Chuck Berry, Led Zeppelin, and The Doors, attracted 70,000 people. So that's a big number for back then for a festival. Nowadays, it's nothing. I mean, Lollapalooza does 100K easy thing, but that's a good sized festival right there. That's not a sold out Ohio Stadium football game, but hey, still 70,000 is not bad for 1969. And also in 1969, yes, Mr. Kennedy pled guilty to leaving the scene of a crime. I believe that was a week after he went off the bridge in Chappaquiddick in Massachusetts and killed Mary Jo Kopechne. If you never read that story or watched it, watch that one. It's a good one. It's a good cover-up kind of thing that happened to the Kennedys back then. Interesting stuff. Let's see. 1975, Bowie released his single, Fame, in the UK. John Lennon was a guest on that. It only reached number 17, which I'm surprised. I like Bowie's Fame, but it only reached number 17, which to me is a little bit odd, but I guess that's the way it goes sometimes. 1978, PIL is formed. Johnny Lydon, Johnny Rotten. Now, I've told the story before, but it's always worth telling. My very, very first meet and greet with a star for working for the radio station was Johnny Lydon. It was down in Cincinnati, or not in Cincinnati, but it was, I think it was at Hara Arena. I think that's what it was called, Hara Arena. And I went down there. Dave Watson was the record rep. That's when I met Dave Watson. So if he ever tells you otherwise, that's not true. That's when I met him. That was the very first time. But I drove down to go see that show with, again, PIL. So we saw the show, and it was great. Public Instrument Limited. Who hates it? But afterwards, I got to go see and meet to try and get an ID and an interview with Johnny Lydon. And going backstage, we're back there. And I mean, I'm, pretty young, very new to this. And he just grew out. He's like, wanker! I was like, ah! And he was just way over the top. So intense. And just, it was just funny. It was just really funny because he just was really having a day. It was just Johnny Rotten. And I was just kind of happy to be there, and it was just kind of funny. But it was definitely a memorable first rock star at work experience that I got to have. And it was Public Image Limited, Johnny Lydon. So there you go. 1980, AC/DC Back in Black is released. It is their 7th studio album, but this one sells 50 million plus copies. Remember we talked about those numbers of how that stuff was done, but that one probably did. That was a huge album release back then. Back in Black, it's still one of those, epitome of rock and roll, and people still talk about, AC/DC and Back in Black you can still find in soundtracks and movie soundtracks that are out today, because it was one of those things. Also in 1980, on this day, Caddyshack was released. One of those movies that did not have popular acclaim when it was first released, and to the point where, and I did not have time, or I would have Googled the story and gotten into more of the details, but it was in fact sold, like someone bought all the rights to it because it was just garbage, no one wanted it, and then wound up making millions on it because they resurrected it and started to produce all this stuff from it and made millions. And there's such classic lines in that. Rodney Dangerfield was so funny in that. Hey, you find that hat on the judge? Hey, Judge, what, you find the hat on the dead guy? I love that, but it looks good on you. A line I used even today, not knowing that it was the release of Caddyshack. I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite some time because it's pouring rain out. When the judge is out hitting the ball, and Dan Aykroyd's or Bill Murray's out there playing his caddy. It was definitely one of those missed opportunities for somebody back then that somebody capitalized on. But yeah, you'll have to read the history of Caddyshack. But yeah, it's funny. But that today is the day in 1980, which I can't believe it's that long ago that was released, Caddyshack. 1983, Metallica debut album released, Kill 'Em All. That's also fairly odd that that's a while back now if you think about it. Metallica's been around since '83. That's from their debut album. 1985, Rock Hudson admits to having AIDS. The Hollywood fantasy ends with Rock Hudson being the leading man and every ladies' man's man. Turns out Rock was gay. Everyone knew it, but no one admitted it. That's the way that went. Good old Rock Hudson. 1990, Roseanne sings the national anthem at the Reds-Padres game, and to critical acclaim is hated for it because she sang it, and I just remember that screeching, just terrible. Yes, good old Roseanne. Yay, thank you for that fond memory. 1993, Sleepless in Seattle is released. Melanie Griffin, Billy Crystal, the infamous "I'll have what she's having" line. 1999, Lance Armstrong wins the first of 7 Tour de France's. Later, of course, getting all of those things disqualified for doping. Good old Lance gets all that sympathy for losing a nut and everything else and gets busted for doping. That's what happens to you, Lance Armstrong. You bastard. And let's see. The last one was in 2024 was the 150th show performed by our good friend and piano man, Billy Joel. He did, ready for this one, a residency at Madison Square Garden where he performed once a month for 10 years straight. So a lot of people didn't realize that, but he performed one show a month for 10 years straight and did 150 performances. Today was the last day he did that, ending in 2024. How funny is that? It's one of those things where you just kind of did it. People didn't realize that. Birthdays today, Matt LeBlanc. He was in Friends. I was not a watcher of Friends. I saw him in the remake of Lost in Space. I remember he was in, I believe, a remake of Lost in Space. That was him, I believe. Also, Ken Greer, Red Rider band, singer of Lunatic Fringe. Lunatic Fringe. As well as Thurston Moore of Sonic Youth. It's his birthday today. There weren't a lot of deaths, which was nice. I did not find a lot of deaths in the categories today, so I just decided not to put any deaths down there. But we'll go back to the Fiery Foods Festival at Asheville, Ohio. So it's whoa, that's a gigantic fly. Do you see the size of this thing? Holy crap, it is monstrous. I wonder if I can flick him. Think I can flick him? Let's give it a shot. Oh! I got him. I don't know if I killed him, but He definitely didn't like that. He went sailing down toward the ground that way. That thing was a monster. That was a big ass fly. I don't know how the hell it got in here. Anyway, yeah, Asheville, Ohio. Uh, it's always interesting, small town America. If you've ever stopped in small town America, Asheville, Ohio definitely categorizes as that, sort of the whistle stop city, where because that was what it was when it was the train station. Not very far from Columbus. You just take 23 out and take a left turn, and you're at Asheville. But yeah, I mean, it's got these great there's a little restaurant that I'm going to have to stop in and get it. There's no fast foods. I didn't see any fast food stores. There was like a Sunoco and a Marathon Gas, and that's where I went and got my ice cream from. There's a pizza bar place, Blades, I think it was called. And then all these quaint little houses on these little flat streets and these little narrow alleys. In this little 10-acre park that they have this shelter house in, and that's where they do their festivals. Apparently they do a very big 4th of July that they've been doing consecutively since 1929, I think, put on by a men's club, like the Men of something. I forget. I read it, but I didn't write it down. Sorry. And then a Viking festival because they're the Asheville Vikings. But I guess it's not just like it's a whole thing. So it's almost like a Renaissance fair. So they have like jousting and Vikings and all that stuff. So now that I know that, I'll have to go check that out when that happens. Knowing that that's actually the case, that there is this Viking thing that's not the Renaissance Festival. Because the Renaissance Fest is great. It's just always packed, always hard to get to. So if there's something closer, cheaper, easier, why not check it out? Maybe we can make that the new popular Renaissance Festival is the Viking Festival in Asheville, Ohio. There it is. I did have to read a little bit more about that whole, this crazy, I'm going to find back the water tower thing. Because again, to me, the world's oldest traffic light. If you look at pictures of it, it's like this is the green one, and there's a red one that's next to it that shows that weird kind of configuration. And I was like, some people were like, well, they claim they have the oldest, whereas it was invented in Cleveland, so wouldn't they have the oldest if you invented it? That's just me. If you invented it, don't you have the oldest? Or it's not functioning, but you still have the fame to it. So say you have the world's oldest traffic light. I guess. I think it's splitting hairs to me. But that's, neither here nor there. That's what they claim. And apparently it's backed up by the Guinness Book of World Records. That's what it said in Wikipedia. So, and I mean, Wikipedia never lies, right? Isn't that the way that works? There is no lie in Wikipedia because it's always truth. Just saying. Don't forget this thing. This is happening. So the 9th and final episode, I believe, is this Thursday coming up. I could be mistaken. They could slip another episode in there. But as far as I know, this is the 9th and final episode of the series and of season 1. Hopefully there'll be season 2 and beyond. That would be great. I would love to be part of season 2. I don't know if there will be a season 2. I don't know how that's going. Again, no one seems to tell me squat. I have not been informed of any of the changes, the bloopers reels, or even the order that they're coming out in. So that's apparently the way that goes. If you have a better idea, you let me know, because I don't seem to know squat. That's how that goes sometimes, apparently. Nobody tells me anything. But yes, so that Thursday is episode 9 in Chicago, the last episode. I think they did Mr. Beef, so I guess this is, I'm trying to think where it is, but I think this is when we get pulled into corporate headquarters. That's the only thing I can remember from that part there. I could be mistaken, but that's as far as I know when it is. So, tune in for that alone. I'm going to change camera views because this one's going to die. It's been 20 minutes, so I'm going to not screw up tonight. I'm going to try and be screw-up free, okay? So no dead cameras. No, I got everything that I wanted to have on, except for the fact that I didn't get my one video on there of me driving with all the corn on the side of it. I did for a second, and I did for a second consider, what if I drove through the cornfield? Would that be funny? But then I realized, well, A, it's not my golf cart. B, probably someone would shoot at me because, if I'm destroying your cornfield, that probably happens. You always see people in the movies driving the cars through it. They never show you what the car looks like afterwards. I can only imagine that you've got 7-foot plus stalks of corn, 8-foot stalks of corn with big old hunks of corn on it. If you're driving fast and these things are smashing into the car and the grill of the car and the windshield of the car, that it's going to dent the car, break the grill, crack the windshield. That's just me. I've never done it, but that is my assumption, and I will assume that, even though it makes an ass of you and me, because, again, depending on how fast you're going, which you probably should be hauling ass if you're going to drive to a cornfield, that's what's going to happen. You're going to bust shit. And again, cornfields are normally flat, but man, if there was something in there, you wouldn't see it till you were on top of it. But anyway, did not drive through the cornfield in the golf cart because it's not my golf cart. I would love a golf cart. I've always wanted a golf cart, so I thought that'd be great. That way, if I go to festivals, I can have my own golf cart, have it customized. I could put like an air horn on it. That would be hilarious. Bumping stereo. Have your bumping stereo in it, so you can do that. But I'd want it to be like a really plain, kind of innocuous looking golf cart. I would definitely take the governor off of it, though. Definitely not make it this, LSV, the low speed vehicle, because you're supposed to go like 20 miles an hour, 25. Oh no. This is a golf cart. I would definitely like ramp up and amp up the governor and get that sucker so at least it did like 40. I mean, it's got a little engine in it if it's gas. If it's electric, I think they've got a limiter on there you can remove, but it should go faster than that, right? I mean, 25 just seems so slow, in a golf cart. I mean, if you're on the golf course, sure, but once you're not, I don't know. You should be able to go faster than that. Especially when you're doing stupid stuff like I am and driving on the street, going from place to place, because again, why people keep giving me golf carts to drive, I don't know. Oh, by the way, you have a golf cart. Didn't expect it. Awesome. The festival is so small of a footprint because it kind of doubles back on itself, and it's I didn't really need a golf cart, but I was like, sure, why not? So I'm just, cruising around, and I'm like, hey, I want to go drive to the gas station, go get myself some other stuff, just because I can. I don't have to sit here and wait for all these things to open up because I can drive where the hell I want. I'm sorry. I just find it to be hilarious that people just keep giving me golf carts to drive. Hey, want a golf cart? I'm like, sure. That seems totally fine to me. I'm glad that you trust me with your vehicle. Someone has to trust me with their vehicle, right? I mean, that's the way that works. Let's see, what else? So apparently I've had a very low output tonight. I must be losing my momentum and boring people on this Friday night. So if you're watching this later, I apologize if my momentum has waned. That is what it is. So tomorrow I'll be back down in Asheville, Ohio. I will try and get some more Asheville memories to share with you all, which should be fun. Again, there's lots of hot sauces down there. So if you're seeing this before the end of tomorrow, you should go to Asheville and go to the Fiery Foods Festival. Because again, like I said, that is happening tomorrow still. It's this thing right there, Asheville. Fiery Foods Festival. So that's happening tomorrow still, from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's a Saturday. You should come down. It'll be beautiful. It's going to be great. Even if the weather's crappy, it's okay. But yeah, there's bands, an unbelievable amount of food trucks. There's a flea fair. So basically, there's some flea vendors. There's not a ton of the flea vendors, just so you know. Arts and crafts, there's a few arts and crafts, not a ton. Hot sauce and salsas. Yeah, there's like 20 hot sauces and salsas. The Boss Gang is there, so hot sauce. Again, the guy from Chicago's there, Florida, Indiana. There's some people there. Oh, there's even a massage. If you need a chair massage, they have the Massage Boss, which I was like, oh, okay, we can get a chair massage. I was like, why not? That seems completely normal, and tons of free parking. Now, you can pay $5 that goes to the Boy Scouts, but you can easily avoid that by just parking on the street or going in the opposite side of where the Boy Scouts are and just driving and parking in the same field. Just saying. Not that I'm trying to cheap out the Boy Scouts or anything, but. Now, I have to admit there was a couple things that I found really funny. I'm just going to dive into this a little bit about the festival. So I'm the one who put on the Fiery Foods Festival part. So Asheville already did this. They already have their fair festival thing that goes on there. And they get food trucks and they have a few vendors there. And so I was down there with my partner Mike to coordinate the Fiery Foods aspect of it and the vendors. And so I have 23 vendors that I wanted to get down there and get organized. So I brought down my marking paint. I have a can of blue marking paint. And then I can pace off 10 feet pretty accurately, about 4 paces. If I do 1, 2, 3, 4, like sort of tip to tip of toe is right around 10 feet. I got it down to pretty much a science where it's almost exactly 10 feet. So give or take a little bit more so I can give a little bit of space. But I'll mark out, 4 paces, blue spray paint, 4 paces, blue spray paint, and then walk out, blue spray, and I make 4 dots, and that's where your tent goes. So I did that. I got there this early this morning around 11. The festival didn't even start till 5, but load-in was at 1. No one showed up on time. A few did. The Chicago guy did. Some people did not. But anyway, I'm there. But now the people, okay, now this is not saying ill about anybody, but one of the festival organizers, his real name is Jim Bob. Okay, I am not kidding you. His real name is Jim Bob. Very nice, like Jim Bob. Awesome guy to work with. But anyway, so Jim Bob has his own vendors. Now, I did not get a list. I had a very nice typed out list. So as my vendors would show up, I could be like, hey, here you go. Great, good to see you. But check them off. Now, other people would show up. Hey, I'm here for the festival. Great. Who are you? Well, with the Kiwanis. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a hot sauce to me. Okay, I'll put you over here. Now, I tried to make sure that, again, I went down there yesterday and I looked at the footprint because they changed it to make sure everything's set. And I kind of mapped it out in my head. I walked it off, measured it, decided where it was going to put everybody, wanted to keep everyone together. But so, again, I had no idea this is how this works. No clue whatsoever how many other vendors are coming or what type of vendors are coming, which turns out was the funnest part of all of it. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm with the Kiwanis. I'm like, okay, well, we'll put you over here. I sell honey. Okay, I'll put you next to the Kiwanis people. I'm Delta Dental. Oh, you're okay. Well, I'll put you over here. I'm trying not to put them with hot sauce people. Hi, I'm with the Republican Party. I'm like, okay, well, I'll put you over here. Hi, these are true. I am not kidding you. Yeah, I'm here with the something gun manufacturer. I'm just like, okay. I was like, I'll put you over here. I was like, okie doke. I was like, what is going on? What next? I have never dealt with any of these people at any festival I have ever been participating in. But there you go. And then there's a florist and some crafters and some stuff that I didn't expect. But whoa, there was some stuff there. And I was like, does anyone want to not be next to someone for any reason that I should know about? I really didn't have this planned as being the guy that was going to coordinate this. And then on top of that, they're like, okay, well, you guys can park the food trucks, right? And we're like, wait, what? What? That's no. You didn't hire us to do this stuff. I'm not really sure what. So yeah. So they abdicated responsibility of putting together their festival wherever we wanted to put the vendors, which included their vendors, and then wherever we decided to put the food trucks, which was all on them. So we did. So we just kind of lined them up, and there was supposed to be parking in the street, but people just moved the barricades. And I was like, well, you can't park there. I volunteer here. I'm like, yes, but that's still like where the food trucks go. I don't care. But okay, so there was no food trucks in the street in that area. You can't park over here. That's for the bands. I'm a volunteer. Nobody cared. I did my job. I told people what to do. My role is not to police the area. So, and then when I told Jim Bob about this, he was like, oh, well. I appreciated his very cavalier attitude toward, oh, well, it happens. I was like, okay, well, there you go. I'm not going to lose sleep over this because I absolutely cannot. I'm humor, to say the very least, at the sort of the lack of caring. I mean, they got it set up and they got their thing going on, and I'm assuming this is going to be a bit of a party tonight. That's why I kind of got out of there because I could see where it was going. I'm assuming my golf cart will be used this evening for late night shenanigans. It appeared that there was definitely going to be late night shenanigans occurring. I I think the funniest question we had to ask was, will there be security here tonight? Because the vendors leave their tents overnight set up. They're not going to break them down and come back. And they leave all their stuff in it and everything. And they were like, are you kidding? I'm like, no. Like, they're going to be vendors. They're just going to leave their stuff and some of the trucks, and they're just a tent. So they're like, no. I mean, we'll be partying all night, so we'll be here. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I was like, no security. Like, no, there's not going to be like police or anything because, we're going to be here. Like, we'll be in this camper and this Winnebago, and, we'll be hanging out partying all night. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess you would be security then to make sure nothing happens to the tents. Thinking to myself, going, you're exactly why I wanted security. You're the reason I'm thinking that I don't want, like, shouldn't there be security to make sure that you aren't getting into shenanigans? Like, what's over here? Let's check out this tent. Just saying. So I won't be surprised if some tent has been run into by a golf cart, or something nefarious happens. Just because. It seems like the possibility of that happening is very real, just for the fact that the principal residents of this seem to be in a whatever kind of state of mind, which is totally fine. All right. Well, I'm just going to let you decide for yourself. So if you decide to come down tomorrow, Fire Foods Festival, Asheville, Ohio, 17 miles from Columbus, so it's not even a 20-minute drive. It's easy to get to. Drive down 23, take a left turn on 752, I believe is the route. And then when you get to 72, there's like a gas station. Take a right turn, and it's kind of just back there somewhere. Look for the big glowing this thing. Look for the giant eye in the sky kind of looking thing, because it's right there. That's on the back side of the field. So if you see that, you found it. So that's how I got back from the golf cart today. I was like, wait, I see plankton in the sky. So I'll make it back there. That would be funny if someone put antenna on that and made it all green. It would be the plankton water tower. Just saying, not that I'm prescribing anyone to be vandalizing that, which would be difficult in the first place. But it just seems that would be hilarious. That's just me. Just saying. All right, I will let you go. I appreciate it, friends. Thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for being here and enjoying. Hopefully you had a fun time, as I tried to do. If not, well, it's I'm better than late night TV because I'm not political. Anyway, have a great rest of your evening. Have a great Saturday. I'll look for you tomorrow night after I do more shenanigans at the Fiery Foods Festival. And we will do this all again tomorrow, but completely different. Thanks so much. I will talk with you soon. Fade to black. Good night, sweet prince.